Alright guys, I'm headed out here to check, see if we got any more baby goats. But that's not really the point in this video. The point in this video is there's a lot of talk about atmospheric rivers and how those come to be when, as Doug said, from Doug Stacy, he's 56 years old and he's never heard of an atmospheric river. Well, so something's been on my mind on that topic is soil amendments, because a lot of these things that they aerosolize for cloud seeding or chemtrailing, whatever you want to call it, a lot of these things they aerosolize will cause your soils to go acidic. And I was going to talk about how to amend your soil or potential solutions to amending your soil and whatnot, but I got off in the rabbit hole on this deal, and I discovered an article on NIH PubMed from 2004 about chronic wasting disease and its connections to cloud seeding. Yes, you heard that right. It's on the NIH website. And keep in mind, this is a hypothesis on why chronic wasting disease has its little hot spots in the deer population. But this article draws a correlation towards cloud seeding or chemtrailing, whatever you want to call it. And specifically, in those areas where this chronic wasting disease is prevalent, it is also prevalent to get the same metals used in cloud seeding to return back on pastures, in the soil, the antlers of deer. So I think this hypothesis this guy has might be spot on. And this article takes a deep dive that's really kind of sinister and twisted, and honestly, it was kind of unnerving reading this article. But let me show you some livestock, some happy stuff, things people want to see, which also we have bad news in terms of our livestock. If you've been watching our videos, we've had a hard time with kid goats this year, and we think it's because of deficiencies. Well, lots of times when you have too many heavy metals, potentially what's being sprayed on you, maybe, it's just my opinion, it could create deficiencies. Well, little brown calf, who we've been doctoring and nursing along, did not make it today. Mostly because he went hypothermic, but none of the other cattle did. We thought he was good. He's been every day, been moving. I even gave him a bottle yesterday. He looked good. It was rainy and cold, but all these guys, they're doing good. This is his counterpart right here, little black calf. He's good, just eating away. And that was part of the problem, was little brown calf, he just did not spend the same amount of time eating as these guys. Hence why I think he has a deficiency, or did have. What could cause it? Who knows, really. But everybody else is looking pretty solid right now. And it's a mess out here. Just swampy. I need to, before I go inside and film this video talking about chronic waste disease and the connection, and present you with the article so you can read it yourself and just read how bizarre it is. Let's see. Hey girls, those babies look good. I'm looking for one goat in particular that should be close. Snow White's daughter, this solid black one with a little white around her nose. She is not kidded yet. Are you close? What you think, Mammoth? You got a bunch of kids in there? But stick with me and I'll get that to you. Like and subscribe, please. All right, guys. Everything that I'm going to cover in the next few moments is totally sourced from the NIH PubMed website and a combination of using Wikipedia to find the other PubMed documents and or some other articles about him and his life and what got him into the work that he was doing. I'm going to read this article to you, but I can't express enough that it took me several times of reading this to slightly interpret what I'm reading, and that I am not a scientist or a biologist. So these things are something that you're going to need to do research on, and you need to click on the links below in the description to do the reading yourself, and just look into this guy's what his passion was. By the way, he died early at the age of 56, supposedly from brain cancer. But he was very passionate about this. I believe that he was onto something, and the reason I'm going to bring this stuff to you is because I believe that I see these things, I see these truths, and I know these truths to be true before I even see them. I'm not ever 100% sure of why things are going on, but I have a pretty good idea about why things are going on before I find an article like this. And this article, I found it today, or this should be posted tomorrow. So I found this article just now, and it's from 2004. But I basically generally already had, like, I guess, a sixth sense or superstition about this, because I feel like it's my gift from our Creator Yahweh is discernment and just generally knowing the winds. And whenever I see an article like this, I am 110% compelled to share stuff like this with you. Deer, whitetail are a passion of mine, and I know more about chronic wasting disease just from this article, regardless if it's true or not. I've learned more about chronic wasting disease in this article than anything I've ever read before. I had no clue that these prion proteins, that's familiar over the last few years if you're into that kind of stuff. I had no idea that was what caused these neurological disorders that caused chronic wasting disease and mad cow disease and scrapies in goats. I had no clue. But anyways, like I said, I'm going to read this article to you. Please do the research yourself. Find the rest of this guy's articles. Read up on him. I believe this man was onto something, and he didn't dedicate a lot of his life to this for no reason. And he's done the work for you. We need to educate ourselves on it. So please like and subscribe to my channel and go research this information. From time to time, I'd like to bring stuff like this to you. I'm also still going to cover soil amendments when I do a little more research on these different chemicals and what they could be doing to your soil, and my theory on how we might have to move forward with amending our soil. As I mentioned earlier, this article that I'm wanting to share with you is about chronic wasting disease and neurological disorders in regards to potentially being caused by cloud seeding. Basically, this guy, Mark Purdy, found that high levels of silver, barium, strontium, and low levels of copper have been measured in the antlers, soil, and pasture of the deer that are thriving in the chronic wasting disease cluster zones of North America in relation to areas where chronic wasting disease and other transmissible spongiform encephalopathies, TSEs, they're called TSEs for short, have not been reported. The elevations of silver, barium, strontium were thought to originate from both natural, geochemical, artificial pollutant sources stemming from the common practices of aerial spraying with cloud seeding, silver and barium crystal nuclei for rainmaking in these drought-prone areas. of North America. The atmospheric spraying with barium-based aerosols for enhancing refracting radar and radio signal communications, as well as the spreading of waste barium drilling mud from local oil, gas, well industry across pasture. And these metals have subsequently bioconcentrated up the food chain and into the mammals who are dependent upon the local copper-deficient ecosystems. Okay, if you're into livestock, that copper deficiency may ring a bell with you. As we all know, as goats and even sheep can't have a lot of copper, but even sheep, if cattle, if they become deficient in copper, they have negative health consequences. A dual eco prerequisite theory is proposed on ideology of TSEs, which is based upon silver, barium, strontium, or Mn replacement binding at the vacant copper zinc domains of the cellular prion protein, PRP, sulfated protoglycan molecules, which impairs the capacities of the brain to protect itself against incoming shock bursts of sound and light energy. Silver, barium, strontium chelation of free sulfur within the biosystem inhibits the viable synthesis of sulfur-dependent protoglycans, which result in the overall collapse of copper-mediated conduction of electric signals along the PRP protoglycan signaling pathways, ultimately disrupting GABA-type inhibitory currents at the synapses end plates of the auditory circadian regulated circuitry, as well as disrupting protoglycan co-regulation of growth factor signaling systems which maintain the structural integrity of the nervous system. The resulting silver, barium, strontium, and Mn-based compounds seed piezoelectric crystals which incorporate PRP ferritin into the structure. These ferromagnetically ordered crystals multi-replicate and choke up the PRP protoglycan conduits of electrical conduction throughout the CNS. The second stage of pathogenesis comes into play with the pressure energy from incoming shock burst of low-frequency acoustic waves from low flyby jets, explosions, earthquakes, etc. Basically, he's saying that that these chemicals from cloud seeding create crystals in the nervous system, and that frequencies, you might find that word familiar lately in the last few years as well. But basically, these frequencies, let me get back to where it was, choke up the PRP protoglycan conduits of electrical conduction throughout the CNS, central nervous system, CNS. Basically, these frequencies interact with these crystals created by the cloud seeding and disrupt the central nervous system, is his hypothesis, not mine, his. The second stage of pathogenesis comes into play when the pressure energy from incoming shock bursts of low frequency acoustic waves from the jets, explosions, earthquakes, etc., characteristics of the TSE cluster environments, are absorbed by the rogue piezoelectric crystals, which duly convert the mechanical pressure energy into electrical energy, which accumulates in the crystal PRP ferritin aggregates, the fibrils, until a point of saturation polarization is reached. Magnetic fields are generated on the crystal surface, which initiate chain reactions of deleterious free radical mediated spongiform neurodegeneration in surrounding tissue, since silver, barium, strontium, and Mn-based piezoelectric crystals are heat resistant and carry magnetic fields, inducing pathogenic capacity. It is proposed that these ferroelectric crystals pollutants represent the transmissible pathogenic agents that initiate TSE. So, in short, these pollutants that they spray interact with frequencies and create the pathogenic route for these TSEs to infect the brain. And if you've ever seen chronic wasting disease, a deer just runs circles and circles. So with that being said, these are his words. He's got numerous articles. First, I recommend that you go type in Mark Purdey, Purdey. Click on the Wikipedia, because there's a tab where you can see his papers that he's published. You can get all of his papers except for one. One of them is titled, and all these papers are published on NIH PubMed, so supposed to be a fairly reputable source. But one of these documents has been scrubbed. His very last document that was published on there before he died in 2006 is titled something like his research is corroborated by Auburn University, and I couldn't seem to find it on the PubMed website. I'm going to dig and try to get to that article, because I feel like that article is going to be a very important piece of this. But guys, if they've deleted that article, they've deleted other articles related to 2020 to present, that those articles predated 2020 by quite a bit. They've deleted them. So you need to download these, because they're going to be important into the future. And I'm not sure, I've tried recording this video a few times. Shayla can remove it if I'm wrong, but I don't think I covered what got this guy into this. He got into this for the fact that the government tried to get him to use chemicals to treat a fly in his dairy herd. He was an organic farmer. He fought the government. He won. He was fairly renowned for his ability to self-teach and actually come up with legitimate hypotheses on some of these things. And he kind of blew the horn on mad cow disease not actually being directly related to the feed, because the same feed was being shipped to other countries where they probably didn't cloud seed, and those other countries didn't have mad cow disease. So he's fairly renowned. He was well respected in his time by many people, and there's also a story kind of about his life that I'll also post in the description. So go down there as soon as I conclude this video. Go research this guy. If you like rabbit holes, I think you're going to like this guy, especially if you're into this whole cloud seeding, chemtrailing thing that's going on. But anyways, without carrying on too much longer, I'd just like to ask you to please subscribe. Hopefully you're into the truth and you want to know the truth, and I enjoy sharing it. I feel like this is my gift from Yahweh, our Creator, seeing these things. I believe everybody's capable of seeing the truth, but it's all in due time, and it's kind of tied to the Holy Spirit, and people will only see what they're willing to see, and in due time, a lot of these truths will be revealed. It may be once we're standing before our Creator, and a lot of the things that we think are true are probably going to be not true, and a lot of the things that we had suspicions about are probably going to be confirmed, and a lot of the stuff that you know that it seems like nobody else knows is going to be made whole, and you're going to be like, I knew it. I knew I was onto something, and the fact that I'm always seeking the truth and something always pops out. I wasn't looking for anything about chronic wasting disease or mad cow disease. It just popped out. All I wanted to do was bring you a video about maybe doing soil amendments for acidic soils because of these things, and bam, there it was. I've looked this stuff up a million times. Why it jumped out to me right now, I think it was the right time for me to find it, and that's why I had to jump on this video and get it out the same day that I found this information. So anyways, I hope you liked it. Like and subscribe. Thanks.